Okay, here we are, February boat shop update. It's been a cold month, and a couple of months actually. Truth be told, I wasn't here last week, but I'm told it was pretty miserable. It's really hard to get anything done here in the cold. I don't know how they did it back in the serious production days. I know it couldn't have been warm, but trying to work with cold tools and banging away all day, it's you leave here with such a chill to your core, and you just cannot get warm. So a tip of the hat to those hardy old builders. We've been doing our best. The hard part nowadays is getting epoxy to cure, paint to kick, anything like that. And so that does definitely slow us down a bit. Here, this guy here, 16-foot Amesbury Skiff, you'll see the easels are off, and we've got rails here all milled out, ready to go. We've got our quarter knees there, ready to go in. We've got this thing, coat of primer on the inside. Painting can be a real pain on these boats if you have to reach around a bunch of stuff, reach over, all that. So if you can get ahead of that at all, it's really helpful, especially now. This boat's not going to have a lot of varnish, and that is, varnish particularly will slow up finishing process. So this is really only going to get a varnish transom on the outside, and that's it. So rails, seats, once the rails go on, we'll turn this over and we'll deal with the bottom, but we're going to try to get it pretty much done on the inside before that happens. Over here, finalizing a couple of oyster bars, these little boats. So getting the rails on these can be tough, but mostly because we got to wait for the cure time for the goo. Again, going back to the cold weather, that can take a while. We're missing our boat here. That's in New York. So last weekend, I was in New York City teaching a boat building class, building a replica of this. And I'll be back there this weekend doing the same thing, finishing up that class. Now I'll be teaching a class here in May doing the same build. So if anybody's interested in a traditional boat building class, I should be teaching a 5-day class in May building this little Peapod dory. Coming back here, walking into the gates of heaven, into the sun. This is our little Coast Guard dory. So now that we've got this bed clear, we're going to probably get this actually set up today, get our skillet together today, and we can start getting that ready for planking. So we don't want to open too many projects until we close some projects. If we go over here, so here's the thing with this. Yeah, just what you're doing. It doesn't need to be anything pretty. So this thing across the bottom, like, you know, glue it on, glue another piece on, you know. It doesn't have to be a tight fit, and maybe that's not what you were doing and I walked in at exactly the wrong time. But even if that was in the middle and you put pieces going, you know, supporting across or something, that's all it's got to be. So Isabel here is making a pattern for a bulkhead. I'm going to put a bulkhead here and a seat on top, and that's going to stiffen up the boat quite a bit, but do one here and one aft, and that's going to create a couple of air flotation chambers in this boat. So pretty light boat, made out of plywood, but also not a lot of buoyancy. The wood in all of these boats adds a fair amount of buoyancy should the boat swamp. And this would not have much, so we're going to add some flotation chambers in there. It's Apprentice time. You can notice a bit of a din in the background. So this here, Beetle Cat that they've been working on, they are currently getting the spars and the combings, everything varnished together to get some coats of varnish on before they actually go on the boat. Benji's over here, let's see. So these were the old fasteners, and a lot of them had to get cut actually to get this out, and there were a lot of screw heads left in here. So what we did was we bunged all these, and we're going to actually screw into the opposite pattern. Reason being, I know there are a lot of screws still in that boat in the same place, and if we put it right back in, we're going to end up trying to drive screws right on top of them. So anyway, these guys are trying to build up some varnish coats. Now looking over here, our nice smooth Beetle Cat deck. It's got a Humpty Dumpty in it, a couple actually. And I don't know why this happened, but when we put the paint on it, it was stretched nice and tight. When we put the first coat of paint on, it was nice and tight. We put the second coat of paint on, it was still nice and tight. And then we walked away for a week, went on vacation, and came back, and this developed. And so I'm at a bit of a loss as to what to do. I suspect when the weather gets warmer that this will just stretch out and be nice and tight again. Another thing I'm considering is it's pretty much stops at the center line, is to maybe take some of these staples out here and try to re-stretch it. But I fear that would make things worse. And so if the internet's good for anything, it's getting all kinds of opinions from all kinds of people. So go ahead and in the comments, if you have an idea, I'm open to hearing it. We did talk about putting steam underneath, but I think that wouldn't do anything but steam up the wood and swell that up, and I don't know, could be a bigger mess than what we've got here already. But I suspect over time this will be just fine, but it definitely is your nice beautiful job that unfortunately has a bit of a bubble. So we spot coated a lot of these bare spots to try to bring them back into, I guess, into the baseline with the rest of the already varnished, because there were spots on these that were missing varnish altogether. So now we're giving them a good overall sand, and then we'll give them a good coat, and hopefully that'll all blend in and start to look like, well, like it used to, I guess. So, yeah, the room's busy with youngins right now, so we'll stay out of there. But that ship's boat is not pretty much ready to go. They're actually fetching some cedar that we're using for a sole in that boat, and they're gonna bring it out here and plane it down so that we can use it to install a sole there. Things coming up, we have, I'm doing a talk about my trip to the Arctic on March 19th. That's over at the Firehouse in Newburyport. You can get tickets through their website at the Firehouse, and there'll be a link on our website as well. Now, there are discounted tickets for members. If you are a member, you should have received a discount code. If you didn't receive that, chances are your membership's expired. So get in touch and we'll re-up you, and then we can get you tickets to that show. So then we're coming up with all kinds of ideas for events this year, including our usual spring launch. And we just had the bright idea today of having a striper tournament. So maybe stay tuned for a June striper tournament, fishing tournament, sponsored by Lowell's Boat Shop. Extra points if you catch it out of a dory. We have a coastal navigation class with Jane Alfeld. This is a great class for the absolute beginner if you know nothing about navigation. Also, if you think you know a little something about navigation, it's good for you too. Jane is very, very good at this. She teaches at the Wooden Boat School, and it might be helpful because Massachusetts now requires everyone operating a boat to have taken a boater safety course, and a lot of that's going to be navigation, or some of it anyway is going to be navigation. So for all of you this year who don't have one such license or certificate, this could be very helpful towards earning that. And that's April 5th is that class. It's a one-day class, and highly recommend it. Jane's the best. So that's what's happening. Look out.